Today, we're going to be speaking about something very important, how we take the technology that all of us showed up here to learn about and actually make it mainstream and do so around the globe. We don't need this isolated in just Turkey and Korea, the two countries perhaps with the highest incidence rates of wallets. We need this to be everywhere. And the founders and investors on the stage here are the people driving it right now. So let's get their take on it. We're going to start with some introductions. Victor, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David. So my name is Viktor. I run RockawayX. We have three divisions: investment division. We have a market-neutral hedge fund where we provide liquidity into DeFi protocols, and we also have an engineering team. Altogether, we manage $500 million.
Excellent. Shiti.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shiti. I am the Chief Operating Officer at FSL. FSL Find Satoshi Lab is the parent company of STEPN, which is our Move and Earn app where you buy NFT sneakers and walk, jog, or run to earn cryptocurrency. We've also launched our own DEX, decentralized exchange, called DOOR, D-O-O-R. It's #1 on Solana already. We're also on BSC and ETH. And the third app, the third product that we've launched in 1 year itself is More, M-O-O-R. It's an NFT marketplace and launchpad, and that's also on Solana and Ethereum.
Excellent. And Calvin.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Calvin. I actually wear two hats. I'm the general partner of Plutus VC, a $200 million US fund based in Hong Kong. And recently we invested in Candy Club, the logo on the chair that all of you are sitting on today.
Yes, turn around and take a look. It's a cool logo.
Yeah, so Candy Club is the project that 4 months ago when we saw this project, we actually took up the whole entire project, funded it fully so that they do not need to launch another token out into the market, because we wanted a project that is big enough to help other tokens in the market today.
All right, well, we'll get into what it is in a little bit. I think that's enough an introduction. Calvin, you are certainly qualified to be talking about adoption here, and that's what I really want to drive today. So the first question is a more fundamental one. How much adoption do we actually have? And I ask this because we're certainly seeing headlines. Obviously, the FTX debacle is making headlines in the United States, but it's also doing so pan-Europe, even pan-Africa and Asia. This is having an effect. But how many people are actually using crypto today? Victor, I know your company recently put out a really interesting kind of blog post / research report. Do you see that people are actually making use of tokens in today's world?
Yeah, so the latest estimates are 300 million users globally, and actually only in the US it's around, I would say, 10-11% of that. So with respect to the US population, it's only 12%. So we are really in like the penetration, like the internet in the 1990s. However, we still have the same growth and around 80% per annum, just like the internet when it was growing.
So is that true? You're seeing something similar to, anyway,
yes,
a growth curve like internet adoption?
Yeah, well, internet was invented or created as we know it today in 1983. It really, so it's like, 30 years ago. It really took 40 years ago. It really took first 13, 15 years to just have the initial 12% penetration in the US. I still remember I was living in the US, we got these, AOL CDs.
Oh yeah.
It was just as difficult to get on the internet like it is today with fiat on-ramps. But we are very excited about, we call it Web3 consumer use cases. We wrote a blog post, if you go on RockawayX.com on the blog, and there you see around 8 use cases we are really excited about.
And I definitely want to talk about a number of those today because these are some of the forces driving it. And your organization's done some really extensive research on this. And Calvin, look, you've been an investor in the space for a number of years now. You've invested in, 60 companies so far?
209 companies.
So something like 60 companies, 209 companies he's invested in. Are you seeing real adoption of digital assets, or is it something that we fanboys and girls simply hope exists?
So we started in 2016. Back then, it was more of like high pump and dump of the tokens. We follow the trend on how to play the market. But in reality, what we are seeing today is that real adoption is definitely coming, and there are already some cases outside there today.
Well, one of those use cases just might be working out and getting paid for it. We all saw, so by we I mean the industry saw earlier this year a real phenomenon, the use of doing something good and actually being in some ways incentivized to do more of that. How does STEPN work?
Yeah, thank you for that. So speaking whether real adoption is happening, I would like to give an example. It's one of our users. She suffered from cancer. So no, we didn't cure cancer, but she wrote to us where she had lost the ability to walk because of chemo and because of side treatments. And she documented and video journaled her journey, where after her chemo and everything was done, how she started using STEPN. It's an app which you download from iOS or Android store. Once you buy an NFT sneaker, you use that to walk, jog, or run. And in the process, you earn cryptocurrency. So what happens is, even though the earnings may be nominal, you get incentivized every day to do that activity until the adrenaline kicks in, until it becomes a habit. Fitness industry is all about results.
So I love what you're doing here, and I really believe in the mission of STEPN. A lot of people will say, yes, but it's nominal, and inflation over time should result in the actual, I'm going to call it dollar value reward of these tokens, decreasing. But does that actually matter? I mean, people are working out, and isn't something better than nothing?
Yes, absolutely, and that's what I was on to. That fitness industry is about results, as should any other good, which was your question, doing good and doing real value and giving real impact to real users should be about. And once it's about results, you have to see what drive results. The results in our case were driven by two things, incentives and accountability, just like gyms. Gyms are otherwise biggest charities in the world. The one reason that does make them work is your instructor, who you go in day in, day out, or your family, or your friends, who you feel accountable to. As I speak here, there are community events happening in various cities across the world: Sydney, Melbourne, Taipei, Philippines, Singapore, New York, LA.
So these are STEPN community events?
Absolutely.
The community decides we're going to throw these things?
Not done by us. In fact, I discovered a site 6 months ago called STEPNworld.com, which had nothing to do with us. All of these events were actually listed by the community on that website. Of course, after that, I tried to integrate it on our website.
All right, so let me ask you a question that eventually is going to devolve into more conversation here, deeper conversation. What's the age, what's the demographic of the people who are making use of this specific fantastic application?
33% of our users are actually non-crypto native. When I go to one of these events, it's not just 22 to 44-year-old white males, crypto bros or degens. They're actually their...
You guys are crypto bros and degens, I think. Anyway. Keep going.
They're their spouses, their babies in push prams being pushed, their in-laws, friends, family, some people who are actually making their first crypto wallets. Yes, onboarding in crypto is still tricky, because of the bad name that space sometimes gets, which is only going to get compounded with these events.
But you're doing it for free, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yes, it shouldn't matter. But with these events, with these incentives, with these use cases, with more utility to NFTs, to crypto, I think onboarding should and will become easier.
And hopefully we get more types of demographics. You know, a few years ago, back in early 2016, I had the opportunity to launch the first decentralized social network called Steemit. And just worth noting that Steemit's first and most important, and by far and away the most read, effectively subreddit, the channel that they were using, was the trading channel, of course, talking about crypto. Do you know what the second most popular channel was? Gardening. That's right. In early 2016, probably crypto bros were talking a lot about gardening. But Viktor, I want to go further into the research and some of the things that Rockaway, like your thesis as an organization, as investors, as traders, et cetera, as engineers. What are the other categories beyond, of course, exercising? And how would you even encapsulate exercising in your
So I think,
charts?
like, Shiti had a very good point that, you know, it's STEPN is helping new users to be onboarded into crypto. And from that side, we look at new consumer use cases. And we split them into two categories. One is physical world, and STEPN is a great example, or Sweatcoin, or Genopads, of applications which are focused on what we call activity gamification. Second, there is, for example, coordination for creation of networks, like HiveMapper or Helium. You can actually, with HiveMapper, get a camera, you put it on in your car, and as you drive around, you actually help to create a much more precise Google Maps alternative. And of course, you get paid for it.
Decentralized Google Maps, how cool.
Yeah, decentralized Google Maps. So that's activity, so that's networks. Also, another good example, I think, is fashion. Fashion brands just last year, for us, represented a very interesting new channel of onboarding users into crypto. Around $300 million was generated last year by Nike, Adidas, Dolce & Gabbana, when they not only issued NFTs, but also generated revenues from secondary sales. And actually really cool, for example, you can open a Snapchat filter, look at your shoe, and it shows you, if you have like a cool, very cool NFT, it shows you the shoe in augmented reality. So for us, crypto means like not only earning, but also belonging to a society and having within that society a specific status.
So you said, so there's physical.
Yeah.
What's not physical?
And non-physical is virtual. Actually, gaming, so today 48% of all transactions or active users are related to gaming. If I take example of games, I really like first-person shooters. Take a look at EV.io, for example. You can earn when you shoot because it's basically advertising revenue, which is split into the tokens, or miniroyale.io, where you can basically improve the armor and then have it as an NFT and sell it on marketplaces like Magic Eden. Another very nice segment we are looking at, and we are just leading the round of 3 World 3 Moons, it's comics books. So it takes 5 years to create a AAA game. It takes 6 months to create a nice comics book. And we are now working with a team who were authors of Spider-Man, Thor, and Superman comics books, cool. And they love blockchain because it helps them to distribute the comic books directly into the user, but also the user can now adapt the story, they can participate in the story, they can have an avatar, their own NFT, they can improve it, and they can sell it. So actually earn via reading the comics book. Comics books are a big industry. Around $12 billion are generated annually through sale of comics books, which is 20 times lower than gaming, but still very interesting number.
Still, it's certainly big, and it seems quite global. It's a distributed readership of that.
Yeah.
But let's go into other types of gaming. So Candy Club, I should say, is one of those. It is indeed a gambling app. Is that a fair characterization? Or is it social gaming?
Okay, well, what we do is that we were looking for something that has a few key characteristics in the market that can help existing tokens. So if you want to help an existing, every tokens have got a duty. What is that duty? People comes into blockchain primarily, I would say like more than 2/3 of people who are in crypto today is to make money. Am I right? Everybody at the audience, right? People come into crypto is to make money. So at the end of the day, if they can't make money in crypto, people go away. The same with the internet back then. So we were looking for something that can go beyond games, online games, casual games, and so on. So if you take out an FPS like what you just said just now, in the audience probably maximum 1/3 of the people would play an FPS game, and then some would play like hyper casual games and so on. But that's why we took one of the most profitable game in the world. If I were to take a hyper casual game, I cannot assure you that you as my partner, you'll be able to make money, you'll be able to get back your tokens, and majority of the community would want that.
Let's pull back a minute. So what exactly is Candy Club? If I went and downloaded this, tell us how it works.
The world top casino games, including live gaming.
So several different casino games.
Several different, in fact, you name it, from slots, everything that you see in the real money casino gaming world, we took all this and we put into Candy Club for social.
And what does that mean exactly?
So social gaming means that we do not deal with fiat currency. You can't use your stable coins, and we don't sell any tokens at all. We have no tokens. If you come in, you have to bring your Solana tokens or your currently the useless FTT token. Come in and gamble it off. You probably double it and so on because it's worth nothing to you anymore.
Okay, so So the idea being, you are essentially resurrecting perhaps some dead tokens and making a new use case for them.
Not just dead tokens. The primary goal of Plutus VC when we invested in Candy Club, our goal is to help the token industry. Every token needs third-party participation.
So to give it another raison d'etre, a reason to be.
To give a reason for people to use the token.
Yeah.
Use case of token is a key primary objective.
So let me ask you this, in the same vein as some of my other questions earlier. Is this a global user base that you're finding? Who's making use of this? Do you have any data on this yet? I know it's early days.
So we are very early. We are supposed to launch for World Cup. So this is the first World Cup that you can use any tokens that of our partners and bet on your favorite team.
Okay. That sounds quite global, considering the World Cup has a lot of countries participating.
If I can build, actually, I think in addition to gaming, sports industry, that's why we are here, will also a big, I think, segment to onboard new users of crypto. Take a look at fun tokens, yeah? If you go on cryptoslam.io, you can see the trading volume of fun tokens. It's around $6 billion per month. NFTs trading volume is 600 million, so it's 10 times bigger. Fun tokens, in terms of trading volume, is 10 times bigger.
And that's already,
than
and these
NFTs.
things did not exist that long ago.
Yeah. And, and of course, it's 80-20, so 20% of sport clubs generate 80% of revenue, but you have AC Milan, you have PSG,
Yeah.
you have Formula One, Alpine team very successfully, also launching their fun token. And that's another new user base adopted into crypto. And Binance, for example, if you are a sports team, you want to onboard, you have two platforms, Binance and Socios, or Chili's, to be able to onboard, funds into the blockchain. If you are a sports team and you help Binance to onboard their users, Binance pays you $50 per onboarded user, because they know it's calculated that it's less than, $150 their customer acquisition cost. So sports, we think, will be another big segment.
So first, what you just mentioned there,
Yeah.
these fan tokens can be actually cash flow generating beyond simply fee generating on trading.
Yeah.
And it onboards a totally new class of potential users to
Yes.
the crypto ecosystem.
And it's also a win for the sports team because it helps them to engage better with their fans directly, and also, create for them specific experiences, like go and see Lionel Messi after in a cloakroom, or choose what the captain will have written here on his captain band. Yeah, it's really cool. Which song will be played when someone scores a goal? Yeah, those are just some utilities that the token could provide.
That is an excellent point, actually. So we explored the fan token ecosystem pretty well and deeply for collaborations. What you said about adding experiences uniquely to users and onboarding different class of users is the way forward for mass adoption.
Yeah.
One of the ways that we ended up doing that was through the collaboration with ASICS, so the sports brand. And this was the first time at Breakpoint we released a physical drop tied to NFT drop. So we originally did the drop on Binance a few months ago, which in itself was success. For 2,000 slots, we had 190,000 stakers. But even with this drop, where there was a physical shoe that was dropped by ASICS, and it had, for every single shoe purchase, you could get one NFT badge of STEPN that would enable you for an NFT raffle as well. And the community went just bonkers within hours.
Well, I've got to say, these use cases are fantastic for cryptos, Victor. But one issue is that it's really hard to get the tokens in the first place unless you're making use of an application where it's totally seamless.
Yeah.
When you're investing in some of these companies, to what extent are you doing diligence on the user flow or their ability for users to the companies to actually create great UI, UX experiences?
Yeah. Look, we are really in prehistoric times in crypto. Why, when I want to make a trade, I need to take a hardware key, go upstairs, plug it into my computer? Like, it's really prehistoric times, yeah? My father is a professor in cryptography at the university. He does not know how to use crypto, yeah? It's so complicated.
Wow.
So it's super important. But look, I give you another example, yeah? Fashion brands. Like, we just discussed the fun tokens, and it helps basically engage with the customers with brands directly. And brands, they don't know who their customers are. You go and you buy a Rolex watch. Rolex has no clue who you are. But blockchain changes this. Take a look at Breitling. Breitling created a token thanks to Ariane. Ariane is a French company. Now, when you buy a specific Breitling watch, you get also like a card. With NFC, you put that card next to your phone, and you automatically get on your phone the NFT linked to your Breitling watch. And now Breitling can communicate with you directly. Now you know you're a customer. Now they are linked in together with your phone. They can chat with you. And it completely changes the direct-to-consumer business model.
Because now there's this channel that they have forever. And of course, if the NFT trades in the secondary market the way watches do as well, they have a way to communicate not just potential new products, but also for customer support. It can be a really sticky relationship with brands.
And
for
they
big
can
brands, for big brands, they do know their customer.
Yeah.
Okay? Like I didn't bring my Richard Mille. They know me pretty well, you know. You can't.
Yeah, I don't have so much money.
Yeah, no, I mean, some of them do, there's no question, but I think there certainly are some products where this could be a stickier receipt, right? If an NFT could be a much better, three-dimensionally better receipt, there might be some value there, and as it turns out, there's probably some DeFi applications. But I do want to stay on top of how we can go and make crypto more widely used, actually used. And I do want to talk a little bit more about kind of, well, the utility of it. With your organization, with your product that you're coming out with right now, how easy is it to use for an average person?
Very easy.
Okay.
Actually, if you don't have a crypto wallet, you can just come in. We give you free credits to try. And if you want to do like exit, there's zero exit for those free credits. But if you want to do...
So it's kind of free to play, almost a free
free to play. Everybody is welcome, you know. Go try casino, go try World Cup for free. You know, that's as open as that. So the key is to bring in as much users as possible and wire that, introduce it back to the crypto community.
All right, well, let me turn something on its head. We've certainly heard a lot of optimistic reasons for, or use cases for crypto. What is preventing adoption so far, Shiti?
I think one of the points could be technology, the maturity of technology. For example, NFTs, right? Now, beyond monkey JPEGs, how do you add utility to NFTs? One way is the way we did with NFT sneakers, getting out there for it to be used as running. However, just taking a step back, what are the four things that actually make NFTs usable, right? So it's transparency, indivisibility, transferability, and interoperability. And their use cases are broadly two-dimensional. One is secular and one is broad. When I say secular, that is limited to an NFT ecosystem, which is what we're currently doing. So staking, redeemability, exclusive benefits, et cetera, et cetera. That's what technology is ripe enough for today. However, the game changes when we go on to broader use cases, which are applicable to humanity at large. This is where we're talking big game, like authentication, IP, real estate, voting, ticketing, music. That's when we start to impact industries, reimagine the way we work, live, study. And for that to happen, when we usher in the new era of technology, when we unlock the true NFT potential is when we'll...
So the technology is yet to be built, is that correct?
We're building it.
Yeah.
We are building it as well. Like I said, STEPN is just the start of our front-end applications. We've launched our own back-end infrastructure as well in terms of DEX and Launchpad. The Launchpad, which is more, also invites applications from creators, from builders. As builders, we don't know how to scout projects, but as builders, we know how to build. How to build in this space, with all its challenges, with all its opportunities, and we want to work with builders, impart whatever little we know, and give them muscle of our execution as well.
Victor, you're an investor in the space. I mean, you certainly study this extensively, and you've invested in some of the most successful projects. What's missing?
I think the biggest barrier to adoption right now is greed.
Greed.
Yeah, and you know, I've been in crypto since a long time. Like we know each other since a long time. I think the ICO boom, initial coin offerings, was driven by greed, and then it takes time until people forget, when the trust disappears. DeFi summer, also the greed when, you know, Compound started issuing tokens, but then every project then started issuing tokens just for people to get yield, like thousands of percents. You remember that, yeah?
Wild.
And I think right now, like what happened over the weekend is just a case in point of how, as an industry, we destroy the trust again. And I think we are on for like at least 2 years to rebuild it. And I think that's very unfortunate.
So even as much as technology, the fact that greed has set the reputation in this industry back so far,
Yeah.
that's an
Well, I think, look at Coinbase annual report, yeah? 87% of their revenue is retail. 7 billion revenue, 6.5 billion is retail. Retail is hurt. And it's going to take time, I think, to rebuild this trust. And I think I'm not in crypto for the money. Yeah, like I'm born in a communist country. It was really hard to go across the borders. Crypto is just, for me, it's financial freedom. It's the financial layer built on top of the internet. And just like with every financial instrument we had before, like credit cards also in the 60s were used for fraud. It's also used for fraud, but I think it's very unfortunate.
Calvin, what are we missing?
I think greed is greed is the powerful word here. Greed is good, you know. Okay? Without greed, there's no cryptocurrency market today. It's a fact. Without greed, nobody comes into cryptocurrency. Why do any of y'all buy crypto or buy Bitcoin? It's not for the love of Bitcoin. It's not for the love of Vitalik. You know, we are not in love with Vitalik, right?
I respectfully disagree.
Victor loves Vitalik.
It's not about the technology. I mean, majority of the people who comes into crypto wants to make money. It's an investment. Okay? Today I took Uber. My cab driver was talking to me. Hey, you're going to, that place? That's happening. There's a crypto conference there. I said, how do you know? I just bought, Bitcoin last night because it drops. And it's going to pop back up. And I'm like, so you ask me, what do you think? I say, maybe there's one more drop coming. And he's like, oh, shit.
Okay, so what's missing isn't greed, but what is? What is missing? Why is it not that Bitcoin is everywhere? Why doesn't every single person in the UK have a Bitcoin wallet?
Because that's why I say that everybody should buy Bitcoin, because Bitcoin of 21 million, maybe 4 to 6 million is already gone, can't recover it back. So if every multi-millionaire or millionaire wants one Bitcoin, that's not enough to go about. So buy your Bitcoin today.
So I'm going to take that as his answer, meaning not enough education. So that's how I'll interpret that answer. Enough education. Okay, well, we've got about 10 minutes left in the conversation, and I want to talk about some of these other use cases. Victor, again, you outlined about 8 different categories previously.
Yeah.
Some virtual, some physical. Let's delve further into the virtual. Loyalty points. So loyalty points are a really interesting thing that aren't necessarily driven entirely by greed, but we've seen them be incredibly useful. For airlines, for example, they had to go and make use of loyalty point systems because eventually when Expedia, this is in the rise of the internet, Expedia basically took away the high margin business in travel, the booking side. And so airlines quickly became a commodity except for marketing and loyalty points. Let me ask you this, Victor, as someone who's, again, studying this and investing in the space. How can a Web3 loyalty point be better than the current ones?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. So PayPal or a bank can incentivize you by real cash when you tell your friend to use PayPal or the same bank, because they have access to your bank account or to your PayPal account. PayPal gives you, I think, something like, $100 or $1,000 if you onboard a customer. No other, if you drink protein drinks, like protein powders, if you recommend a friend, they give you a voucher. Who cares about the voucher? But with crypto, everybody has a wallet. And the protein manufacturer would know that you recommended a friend, and then protein manufacturer can give you, real value, like stable coins directly on your wallet, because then they would have access. So I think going forward, crypto disrupts completely affiliate programs.
And so, of course, in many ways, STEPN is a bit of a loyalty point for working out in its own way. It's a loyalty point for doing well for yourself. I'm sure you guys have considered how to apply this into other industries or other verticals. What's your organization's thinking about how to better apply loyalty points?
I would just reframe that. So instead of loyalty points, I would say gamification. I think that's what you're arriving at. In my head, and those 8 categories were lovely, my mental structure is 3 big use cases for crypto at large. One is payments, so P2P payments, right? Right now, the OLAF banking system is written at COBOL. It's prehistoric. That is prehistoric. That's why payments take so forever. I'm not talking about, like when I pay you $10 or £10, it happens instantly. But that doesn't happen for merchants, that doesn't happen for banks, and that takes forever. Crypto does it instantly, blockchain. That's a better way to do it. Talking of barrier, the TPS is not as high as Visa, right? That's why technology has to mature. That's why it's not there yet. But is it a better way to do it? Hell yeah. Second, exchanges. Odd time to talk about it, but it is. The likes of Citadel and Robinhood and what happens there. Crypto would be a far more transparent way to do it. DeFi would be a far more transparent way to do it. And that would be our mass adoption in financial infrastructure. And the third point is social, right? Whether you talk of social, meaning blockchain Twitter, blockchain Facebook. Like today, if I were to tell you, hey, listen, this is a new WhatsApp, it works better. Try it, you would try it, but would you really want to come on it? You would be like, now who's going to invite my friends? Who's going to start all over again, right? Because all your tweets, all your friends, all your data is held hostage.
It's the typical moat that social networks have, incumbents have, which is data lakes and also a social graph that's already pre-existing on a platform, right? And so it needs to be so much better to go and move someone from what's already good enough to something else, right?
Hence, making them not interoperable. I was just trying to not use the buzzword.
The buzzword, yeah.
Yes. So interoperability is the key. So what I talked about with banks, it's decentralization. Now I'm talking about, and then what I talked about EVM, like building on top of each other, is composability. I try not use the big words. And this is interoperability, where you have blockchain Twitter or blockchain Facebook with one single wallet login. You, with your own tweets, can log into any platform of your choice day after day, and therefore you're not held hostage by your data, but you choose on the merit of product. And once tech matures for these use cases, there's definitely a better way to do this with blockchain, and it's inevitability. Like today, I don't sit and say, oh wow, electricity is such a magnificent technology. It runs the world. It runs your medical infrastructure. That's how tech should be, in the background. That's how builders build. Similarly with chatbots, AI. Like you don't say, oh wow, AI is so magnificent in chatbots. It works. It has to work. It will work better. With blockchain, some of these use cases are inevitable. They are going to happen. It'll take time. We will have setbacks. We will have greed. We will have lack of trust. We will move back and forth, but it will happen. We will build.
I would just add like the tokens that then we earn through STEPN or through, I don't know, loyalty programs. Then it makes all sense because then we can use DeFi to borrow against them, or we can use DeFi protocols like Friction, for example. I really like that, Friktion, where through options like covered calls, they can help you generate yield on the tokens which you have on your wallet. And then the whole circle actually makes sense because the new use cases, consumer-oriented, like STEPN, will help to onboard users. Users will then use DeFi, which will then help the whole infrastructure number of transactions and users grow again.
So Victor, I mean, that kind of makes me think about a theory that's often discussed on crypto Twitter, which is the financialization of everything. And yes, there are some issues when it comes to that, mostly from regulators, which makes a lot of sense. But what if just about everything that might have a value, that you could think has a value but you could never put your finger on, you could tokenize in some way, shape, or form? You could borrow against it, you could spend it, you could transfer it. Is gamification, is loyalty points, are rewards that you might get making yield in a not gambling app, are these simply the same thing, which is essentially the financialization of everything? Are we seeing simply one big trend?
I think everything is happening now, step by step. If you talk about loyalty points, you can look at crypto debit cards that is now all over Dubai. If you've been last month in Dubai. Almost, I think there's 10-12% of the booth there are all pushing debit cards, and you can actually use your crypto easily in Dubai now. And Crypto.com has been doing this, for 2-3 years already, and rewarding you with their tokens. And you can take that token as a form of loyalty points or cashback, right? So this is already happening step by step in the whole entire industry today itself. And payment, there's one point, like say, I want to talk, bring back a little bit about casino, is that the casino industry today, about 40% of people actually uses crypto to buy chips and play.
In online gambling.
Yes, in online gambling. So this is a use. This is a
pre-existing use.
It's a pre-existing use case that online casino today are starting to accept cryptocurrency in exchange to buy chips. That's a big use case scenario. Before, you only can swipe your credit card online, but today, 40% relatively people uses crypto to buy chips.
Yeah, because it's cheaper. If you swipe your credit card, like
you got to pay Visa.
It goes through like 4 different banks, and every bank takes
Correct.
a fee.
The payments layer.
Yeah, if it's crypto, it's like,
But the biggest key why online casino companies that wish that 100% people uses crypto to buy chips is because of cash, the rejects from Visa.
Credit cards reject.
Yes. So I go in, I buy 100,000, I lost everything. I tell her I lost my card. Give me back my money, right? But in crypto, you can't do that.
So what I'm hearing is that greed is both a blessing and a curse.
Well, I think
That's kind of the lesson I'm learning here. And it is both the driver of mass adoption and that which will take it away at the same time.
mass adoption have to come in many forms and many ways. It's a 360-degree way to drive mass adoption. It cannot be just 90-degree, right?
Okay, Calvin, well, let me ask you this. Outside of greed, what is the virtue, if there is one, of crypto that you think is going to compel more people to accept tokens?
To accept token, I think one way is that cryptocurrency or the blockchain industry are going to replace a lot of traditional finance people and company. One example would be, I always say, people ask me, hey, why do you invest in so many crypto exchanges? And some of them are like losing money, but they are applying for licenses and being regulated. Is that I believe that crypto exchanges will kill a lot of small countries' stock exchange. Small countries' stock exchange, like probably even like Switzerland, is going to be gone. How are you going to compete with a crypto exchange that trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it never sleeps, right? Try putting Tesla
I have a feeling
stocks.
regulators and possibly even citizens voting referenda might have a thing or two to say about it.
Yeah, they want to stop it, but at the end of the day, they can only go with it and regulate it. That's the best they can do, right? Because at the end of the day, look, I hold a Malaysian passport, any Malaysian, I think 90% of Malaysian public listed company or IPO company cannot beat launching a token. You launch a token in a bull market, that's 20 million market cap, US dollars. Malaysia, maybe 20 million ringgit. That's nothing.
All right, well, we only have a little bit of time left. So I do want to ask, predictions for 2023. We're getting near the end of this conference. What do you think is going to happen in 2023 that's going to drive adoption of cryptocurrencies?
I think 2024 will be the year where we have another Bitcoin halving. We have a new elections in the US with the Florida governor being like leading currently, but who cares? I would say 2023 is a year just like 2019 where we'll have to build. Uniswap was built during the crypto winter. Solana was built during crypto winter. I think next year is the year where the builders will have to build.
Shiti, what do you think?
Yeah, just like we had DeFi summer, this will be the age of I don't want to call it DeFi, but something like that. This last weekend has further proved it. So lots of fun apps, building fun use cases, reimagining the way we work, live, study, starting with, of course, social and entertainment. That's where everything sprouts from. So lots of building.
Excellent. Calvin.
So I'm going to go with the money angle.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go with the money angle. For blockchain companies, it's the best time to, develop, prepare yourself, build up communities, and so on. Get people to know you, but always put up the sign, coming soon, right? For the retail market, buy the dip.
All right, well, I'll say this. With that, we'll end. Coming soon, global adoption. Thanks, everybody.